side of the bed, warm long after you left. Saved your favorite mug, though the coffee went cold and unsaid. I answered the door when no one was ringing the bell, still watering flowers in a garden you'd already farewell. I showed up for the memories you decided to leave behind. Carry both our shadows when yours started to decline. I whispered I'm here to the silence that answered back, while you were already turning the page we never closed. I was still there when you weren't, holding the pieces of a love you had already burned, waiting in the doorway with arms open wide while you walked away without turning to say goodbye. I was still there when you weren't, loving alone in the space that you left burned. I replayed every voicemail like it could bring you home. Kept the lights on low in case you decided to come. I defended your name when the world started to talk, even as your absence wrote its name on every clock. I fought for the version of us that only I could see. Believed in the promises, you stopped believing in me. I stood in the fire while you stepped out of the flame, still calling your name like it wasn't already changed. I was still there when you weren't, pouring my heart where your footsteps had already turned, clinging to echoes that faded into the night while you were learning how to live without the light. I was still there when you weren't, breaking in places only I could feel torn. Maybe one day I'll look back and finally understand how I gave my forever to someone with wandering hands. But tonight I'm still learning how to loosen my grip on a love that only existed on one side of the ship. I was the anchor, the wind. I was still there long after the end. I was still there where you weren't. Now I'm learning to leave what you already burned, taking back the pieces I left at your feet, fighting the version of me that doesn't need to bleed. I was still there when you weren't, but today I choose me. I choose to move on. I was still there when you weren't, now the only one left is me. stood in the hallway with the lights turned low. Your coat's still on the hook like it didn't want to go. I reached for your fingers, but the moment slipped through. You whispered, take care, like that could see us through. We never drew the final line, never turned the page, just left the story open on a half-erased stage. I kept the door unlocked in case you changed your mind, while the silence grew heavier with every night behind. The goodbye we never finished still lives inside these walls and under my skin. I keep replaying the almost words we left unsaid, the almost hugs, the almost end we never let begin. No slammed doors, no final tears, just an open wound that breathes. The goodbye we never finished is the only thing that won't leave. Your name still lights up when my phone forgets to forget. Old voicemails play like ghosts I haven't buried yet. We talk about the weather when we accidentally meet, two strangers wearing memories we can't delete. I practiced every perfect line 1,000 times alone, but courage always left me when I heard your tone. We chose to walk away without ever walking out. Now the ending hangs forever in this endless doubt. The goodbye we never finished still echoes every time the wind moves through the trees. I carry all the questions that we never dared to speak, the love we couldn't bury and the pain we couldn't free. No dramatic final scene, just a quiet, slow decay. The goodbye we never finished won't let me walk away. If the universe gave me one more minute at that door, I'd say every single thing I was too scared for. I tell you that I'm broken, but I still wish you well. I thank you for the heaven and forgive you for the hell. But time doesn't circle back and hearts don't get rewinds, so I'm learning how to live with the goodbye we left behind. The goodbye we never finished is the hardest kind of closure I will ever know. I'm teaching myself to release what we never let go, to close the book we left open, to finally say I know. No more waiting for the words that never came to me. The goodbye we never finished is teaching me to be free. The goodbye we never finished finish it inside my healing heart. The mornings got colder, though the calendar said spring. Your laugh arrived later and left on quieter wings. We passed the same hallway like ships in the night, still saying I'm fine, while the distance grew wide. I felt the shift in the way you folded the clothes, a little less careful, a little less close. We never named the crack that was forming below, just kept walking forward, pretending we didn't know. We lost each other softly, like rain on a window pane. No thunder, no screaming, just a slow fading stain. You became my outline I could no longer trace. I became the echo of a once familiar face. We lost each other softly, without a trace. The photos stayed up, but the stories went dark. Your favorite sweater now hangs cold in the dark. We stopped reaching across the table at night. The silence felt normal, almost polite. I kept telling myself it was only a phase, that gentle good nights could still carry the flame. But every small step back was a step we both chose, until the love we once carried quietly froze. We lost each other softly, like petals leaving the rose. No violence, no ending, just a gradual close. The future we whispered became a forgotten line. We turned into people who once felt like mine. We lost each other softly, one breath at a time. If I could rewind to the first day the warmth slipped away, I'd pull you back gently and beg you to stay. But love doesn't shout when it starts to depart. It simply stops knocking at the door of your heart. Now I carry the weight of the things we let die in the softest of waves, under the softest of skies. We lost each other softly, but the lesson burns bright. I'll never again love in half-hearted light. I'll speak when it matters, I'll hold when it's real. No more quiet drifting, no I found how to heal. We lost each other softly, like a song that ends too soon. The softest kind of forever that ended in one afternoon. We lay in the dark and I bit my tongue again. Every fear I swallowed felt like saving us from pain. Your breathing next to mine was the only sound I heard. I told myself that quiet love would never need a word. I built a wall of stillness, thick and soft and kind. Thought if nothing ever broke, nothing ever died. I wore that heavy comfort like a blanket made of stone, never seeing how the silence carved us both alone. I thought silence meant safe, like a harbor in the storm, but it was just a slow blade cutting every thread we'd worn. All the ammo case I hid behind my smile became the very reasons we stopped burning for a while. I thought silence meant safe, now the quiet is a grave. You'd ask if I was happy, I'd answer with a nod, while inside me every unsaid storm began to flood. We danced around the edges of the things we couldn't face, pretending calm was courage in its most elegant grace. I watched the distance widen in the pauses we allowed. Every night I chose restraint instead of reaching out. I believed the less I spoke, the less that I could lose, until the love we guarded turned into something we outgrew. I thought silence meant safe, like a promise sealed in glass, but it cracked beneath the weight of everything we never asked. future from behind my quiet eyes. I'm learning now that courage is the only thing that saves the kind of love that doesn't die inside a silent grave. No more hiding, no more pretending I'm alright. I thought silence meant safe, but it cost me my life. I thought silence meant safe. Now the silence is all I have, and it sounds just like but that. We used to finish each other's sentences at dawn. Now, how was your day? Feels like reciting a foreign song. Your laugh moved to someone else's stories on my feet, while I sit here memorizing the back of your head. The small rituals faded one unnoticed breath at a time. Coffee for two became coffee for one by design. I kept waiting for the moment you'd turn and see that the person you once knew was still right here, still me. I watched us turn into strangers. No dramatic goodbye, just 1,000 tiny deaths beneath the same sky. Your eyes forgot the way they used to find mine. We became polite ghosts in the wreckage of us and mine. I watched it happen, slow like winter arriving. I watched us turn into strangers, still surviving. Stop reaching for my hand in crowded rooms. I stopped asking why the silence felt like tombs. Traded inside jokes for surface level weather, and I love you became something we don't say together. I replayed every warning sign like film on repeat. The way your later turned permanent, incomplete. I should have fought louder when the distance grew tall, but I let it happen. Watch the writing on the wall. I watched us turn into strangers. No fight, no blame, just erosion disguised as life staying the same. Your voice on the phone lost its warmth overnight. We're civil now, careful, I could pause time on the last night we felt like home, I'd whisper every unsaid thing before we turned to stone. But love doesn't warn you when it's quietly packing to leave. It just lets you watch the stranger you once swore you'd never be. And now I carry your absence like a second skin. The stranger you became is the hardest place I've been. I watched us turn in the strangers, and I'm still watching the end. Every memory flickers like a signal losing strength. You're happy somewhere new. I hope that much is true. While I'm learning how to live inside the echo of losing you, I watched us turn, I watched us fade into strangers we never thought we'd trade. I watched us turn into strangers, and the strangest part is I still recognize your shadow in every empty heart. You text me good morning, then disappear by noon. Left me reading old messages under the same moon. Your arms around me felt like a temporary release, warm until the moment you decided to release. I kept collecting pieces you never meant to give. Told myself half a heart was still a way to live, but every almost touch left bruises I couldn't name. You gave me just enough to keep me in the game. You loved me in half measures, never all the way. A whisper of forever that faded by the day. You held me like a secret you weren't ready to claim. Left me starving for the fire you only gave a flame. Half measures, half measures, and I still stayed. You'd say I miss you in the middle of the night, then wake up acting like it never saw the light. I learned the shape of your maybe, wore it like a crown, while you kept one foot steady on the way out of town. I painted full futures on your unfinished lines, drank your someday promises like expensive wine. But the glass was always half empty when you turned around, and I drowned in the silence of the love love you never found. You loved me in half measures, never deep enough. Offered me a lifeline, then called it just a bluff. You kissed me like a habit you could easily break, left echoes of devotion that were always half awake. Half measures, and I still ached. I wonder if you ever love someone completely, or if partial is the only version you know how to be. I gave you every fraction, every trembling part. You took the light and left me holding just the dark. I deserve the whole sky, not a borrowed star. You loved me in half measures, but I loved you complete. Poured my entire ocean at your hesitant feet. Now I'm learning how to walk away from what was never mine, healing from a love that only showed up half the time. No more half measures, no more half measures. I'm finally mine. You loved me in half measures, but I won't love that way again. We sat on opposite ends of the same worn couch, your fingers tracing circles where mine used to touch. The TV flickered blue, but neither of us watched, just counting the seconds before one of us would flinch. I swallowed the words like broken glass at night. You looked away, pretending everything was fine. We built this perfect silence, wall by wall. Now I'm screaming inside, where you'll never hear the fall. What we never had the courage to say still lives between us every single day. I need you to stay. I'm scared that you'll go. I love you more than you'll ever know. We let the truth die in the spaces we made. What we never had the courage to say. Your suitcase weighted open like an accusation. I folded your favorite shirt with hesitation. We spoke in groceries, weather, polite good we never had the courage to say. And hearts don't rewind, so I'm left with the echo of words left behind. What we never had the courage to say still echoes louder the longer you're away. I'm sorry I froze, please come back to me. You were always the only place that I felt free. We lost what was real in the fear we obeyed. What we never had the courage to say. And if you ever wonder why I still look away, it's because those unsaid words are the only place you stayed. Trace the shadow where your coat used to hang. The air still carried the coffee you never drank. Every corner whispered secrets we never said. I loved you loudest inside my quiet head. I should have fought harder when the silence grew. Held your hand tighter when you slipped into blue. But I let the moment drift like smoke in the rain. Now the hurt arrives before the pain. I missed you before you left, before the door ever closed. Felt the goodbye living in every word you never spoke. Your absence was already carved in the shape of my days. I've been grieving you quietly in 1,000 small ways. I missed you before you left. Your laugh still echoes in the hallway at 3. But it's only the wind playing tricks on me. I keep your favorite song on repeat in the dark, trying to find the place where we lost the spark. I should have said stay when my pride said run. Should have been honest when the damage was done. Now every sunrise feels like an apology. be free. I missed you before you left, before the suitcase hit the floor. Heard the end in every step you took toward the door. Your leaving was written in glances I tried to ignore. I've been carrying ghosts of what we were before. I missed you before you threshold, pull you back to me. But in this one I'm learning how to live with the ache of loving someone most when it's already too late. Too late. I missed you before you left, before you left, the quiet already knew. I missed you, I'll always miss you. I used to feel your heartbeat next to mine. Now silence fills the space we left behind. Whispers of laughter echo in the room, but shadows grow as love meets its gloom. I reached for you, but you slipped away. A gentle warmth that couldn't stay. The kind of love that slowly fades, leaves quiet nights and empty days. Every smile, every touch we knew fades like morning mist in the blue. the kind of love that slowly fades, leaves quiet nights and empty days. The kind of love that slowly fades. I watched your eyes drift to someone new, while I held the pieces that belonged to you. Every promise that we once believed faded away, leaving me deceived. I tried to keep a fire that you let die, whispered my love into the silent sky. For shadows of what used to be, holding on to a love you set free. I carried our dreams through endless nights, even when they faded out of sight. I held on to what you let go, clutching memories held on to what you let go. The sunlight fell across your face, but your eyes were somewhere else, a distant place. I whispered secrets you no longer heard. Our quiet room swallowed every word. I tried to hold on, but you slipped like rain, a gentle touch I couldn't retain. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. I still see your shadow in the hall, empty echoes bouncing off the walls. I reach for moments that can't return. In the silence, my own heart burns. I held your laughter close to mine, but some love is never meant to shine. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. Maybe someday, somewhere we'll find a love that lingers gentle and kind. But for now I breathe through the pain, learning to love myself again. The day I felt you drift away, everything I knew just went astray. Every heartbeat, every sigh left me wondering why we said goodbye. The day I felt you drift away, I'll remember you, but I'll be okay. I'll remember you, but I'll be okay. The day I felt you drift away. I still remember the way you laughed under streetlights, our shadows cast, moments that felt like they never mattered. I kept chasing what could never stay, held on to whispers that faded away. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. I see your face in every crowded street, a ghost of us in every heartbeat. I tried to fix what wasn't mine, but some love fades with time. I held on to dreams that slipped like sand, reaching for a touch I can't command. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. Maybe in another life, another day, we'd have found a way to stay. But here and now, I let you go, carry our almost in my soul. We were almost something real, a fire that burned too fast to feel. Every word, every stolen glance, a beautiful but fleeting chance. We were almost something real, and I'll keep the memory and heal. And I'll keep the memory and heal. We were almost something real. The room still held your laughter, like a picture on the wall. But lately every promise felt smaller than before. You stopped asking how I was, stopped reaching for my hand, and I kept filling silence with reasons I'd pretend. I thought love meant patience, inside. I stayed after you stopped trying, after hope began to fade, after every quiet moment showed the distance that you made. I kept holding up the fire while you watched it slowly die. I stayed after you stopped trying, long before I said goodbye. I memorized your absence like a shadow in a room. Every maybe that you whispered turned tomorrow into gloom. You called it growing distant, I called it losing you. But loving someone lonely was all I knew to do. I believed in forever, more than what I could see. But forever doesn't happen when it's only carried by me. I stayed after you stopped trying, after effort disappeared, after every empty promise became something I feared. I kept writing us a future. You erased it line by line. I stayed after you stopped trying and told myself we'd be fine. Love shouldn't feel like standing all alone, building a home for someone already gone. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I won't stay anymore. I deserve a love that reaches, not a half-closed door. Now I'm walking through the silence with a stronger kind of grace. I stayed after you stopped trying, but I finally left that place. Sometimes leaving is the bravest thing you do. When you realize love stopped fighting for you. making future tense like nothing could divide. Your words were warm as summer air, I wore them like my pride. But seasons change without a storm, no warning in your tone. The plans we drew in steady lines were fading on their own. I kept replaying everything, trying to find the bend. The moment faith turned fragile and truth began to thin. Tell me where your promises went silent, where the vows lost all their sound. They didn't break in anger, they just slowly fell to ground. You swore we'd stand forever, but through the never came. Tell me where your promises went silent, and who forgot my name. I still remember how you said we'll never let this go, but never feels so different when it's whispered soft and low. I held on to the echoes of what we used to be. You were busy building distance, I was building memories. I thought love would stay louder than doubt inside your chest, but silence grows much stronger when it's left unaddressed. Tell me where your promises went silent, where the fire lost its spark. You didn't have to leave me, you just dimmed the dark. I trusted what you told me more than what I felt. Tell me where your promises went silent, when they stopped meaning themselves. Maybe words are easy when love is new and bright. Maybe truth gets quieter when it's harder to fight. I know where your promises went silent, they faded with your will. They didn't die in chaos, they just learned to stand still. I won't carry empty echoes or beg them to remain. I know where your promises went silent, and I won't go there again. Some vows don't shatter, they disappear, and you only notice when they're no longer here. We sat across the kitchen light like strangers sharing space. You stirred your coffee slowly, wouldn't look me in the face. I felt the distance settle in between what was and what became. We were still saying goodnight, but it didn't sound the same. I held the word forever like it still meant something true. You were already folding out of everything we knew. That was the last time I called it us, before the silence won, before your hand stopped reaching, before the damage done. I said we'll be fine tomorrow. You didn't disagree. That was the last time I called it us, and you stopped choosing me. Your jacket stayed by the hallway door, like maybe you'd return. I memorized your quiet steps and every look you wouldn't turn. We weren't fighting anymore, we just stopped trying to win. Love didn't leave in anger, it just thinned and thinned. I kept speaking in plural while you were thinking alone. I was building a future, you were letting it go. That was the last time I called it us, before the air went cold, before I saw the truth in the things you never told. You didn't slam the door, you didn't raise your voice. That was the last time I called it us, before you made your choice. Some endings don't explode, they gently rearrange. You wake up one day and we just feel strange. That was the last time I called it us, but not the last time I cared. I stayed until the feeling was too quiet to repair. Now I speak in I and me, and it finally feels honest. That was the last time I called it us, and the first time I chose myself. Some words carry history, some words let you heal. And the day I stopped saying we was the day it became real. I stayed when the signs were clear, read between what you wouldn't say. You were halfway out the door, I was finding reasons you might stay. Every warning felt like doubt, every doubt I turned to hope. I held the pieces of your heart like they were mine to hold. You were slowly letting go. I was loving you more. I loved you past the point of return, past the lesson I should have learned. I crossed every line keep us from the burn. You stepped back without a word. I stayed until it hurt. I loved you past the point of return and lost myself first. I memorized your fading touch like it might come back again. You called it space, I called it trust, but we were standing at the end. Your silence felt rehearsed, mine was breaking underneath. You stopped choosing what we were, I stopped choosing me. I thought love meant staying strong, even when it stayed too long. I loved you past the point of return, past the truth I couldn't face. I kept rebuilding what was gone while you were leaving trace by trace. You never asked me to remain, I just refused to turn. I loved you past the point of return, and that's what made it burn. Maybe love is brave, but not when it erases you. Maybe holding on isn't always proof. I loved you past the point of return, but I won't love that way again. Not where I disappear just to make somebody stay. You were a chapter, not my end, a fire I survived. I loved you past the point of return. Now I'm finally on my side. Some loves don't come back, they teach you where to start. The door didn't slam, it just stayed still, like it wasn't sure who left. Your name lives in the corners. I try my best to forget. I don't look for you in faces or ask the night your name, but when the room goes quiet, my chest remembers the pain. My heart still knows where you went, even when I don't ask. It feels the weight of your leaving, like a shadow I don't chase back. I moved on with my breathing, learned to smile again, but my heart still knows where you went. I packed away the memories like letters never sent. I told myself I was stronger than every what if you meant. I don't wait by old windows or wish upon your return, but love doesn't disappear, it just changes what it burns. heart still knows where you went, but it knows where I am too. I didn't lose myself loving you, I just learned what love can do. I don't need answers or endings, I don't need to pretend. My heart still knows where you went, and it's okay in the end. Some loves don't come back, they just stay understood. And my heart remembers you in the quiet way it should. Was full of echoes from words we didn't say. I was counting every heartbeat, you were already away. Your eyes stopped listening, your hands let go of mine. I felt the ending coming, but pretended we had time. You left before the song ended, before the last refrain. I was still learning the done with the pain. You didn't say you were leaving, you just stopped pretending. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Your laugh became a memory, too soft to call back home. I replayed every moment, like it might change the tone. I loved you in the quiet parts, between the lines you missed. You heard an exit sign, I heard one final kiss. You left before the song ended, before it could resolve. I was still holding the harmony. You are already gone. You didn't break the silence, you let it do the damage. I kept singing for us. You left before the song ended. Maybe love isn't forever, maybe it's just a verse. You stopped believing in us, I believed it worse. You left before the song ended, but I sang it to the end. I stayed with every lyric, even when you didn't understand. Now the music feels different, but my heart's still open. I didn't lose my voice. We just left before the song ended. Some songs don't fade out, they stop midline, and you learn to breathe in the silence they leave behind. I stayed when leaving made more sense. Watch the clock ignore my prayers. Your silence learned my name before I learned how not to care. Every promise lost its tone, every kiss felt slightly gone. I smiled just to keep you near, while disappearing year by year. I let go in slow motion, frame by frame I fell apart. Still loving you out of habit, still breaking my own heart. I didn't leave, I faded, and I words you never quote. I let go in slow motion long before you noticed. Your jacket still behind the door, like you might need it once more. I stopped asking where you'd been, started guessing how this ends. I learned to miss you quietly, so you wouldn't feel the change. You were already halfway gone. I just stayed to take the blame. I let go in slow motion, held on longer than I should, still hoping you'd turn around, even when I knew you wouldn't. I didn't scream, I softened till love felt like a ghost. I let go in slow motion and carried it alone. If love is meant to save us, why did it cost me? I begged for something honest, try till the end. I don't hate you, I outgrew the way that you imposed. I let go in slow motion, and that's how I survived you. Some endings don't explode, they gently loosen their hold. And one day you breathe without them and call it closure. We used to breathe the same small air. Now even silence feels prepared. Your name still waits inside my phone, but I've learned how to sleep alone. Nothing broke, nothing burned, just too many things unlearned. We didn't crash, we slowly slid into a life we never lived. There's a space between what we were and what we couldn't become. Not a goodbye, not a forever, just a love that went numb. I still feel you inserted hours, like a song without drums. There's a space between what we were, and I'm standing in it alone. Your laughter echoes in my head, like things we almost said. We talked about the future once, but stopped before it made sense. We stayed polite, we stayed kind, left the hardest truth behind. I held the door, you held your pride, and that's the night we quietly died. There's a space between what we were and what we couldn't become. Not a promise, not a letter, just a feeling undone. I still see you in reflections, where my heart learned to bend. Not a failure, not a mistake, just a story that ends. I won't beg it to return now. I won't chase what's gone now. There's a space between what we were, and I'm finally letting go of us. Some loves don't leave with a sound, they just turn into ground. You walk on without knowing what you found.